considering the paucity of time, calling the next presenter on stage, Mr. Luke Sweeney, who's the Senior Battery Recycling and Black Mass Analyst, Fast Markets. And the topic of the presentation would be Recycling and Black Mass Outlook. Luke, the stage is all yours. Please come and take the mic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. My name is Luke Sweeney. I'm a Senior Battery Recycling Analyst at Fast Markets. And before I joined Fast Markets, I've actually just submitted my PhD in lithium-ion battery recycling at the University of Birmingham, working on the ReLib project. So the topic of my talk today is, the statement is that lithium-ion battery recyclers are set to experience increased economic pressure. And this is because of three reasons. Firstly, the changing battery chemistry jeopardizes existing recycling models. The supply for lithium-ion battery recyclers is transitioning from scrap towards end of life. And finally, short-term economic pressures from low metal prices has really constricted black mass supply and also black mass demand. So the first topic is changing cathode chemistry in lithium-ion batteries. So a really important feature in lithium-ion batteries is that there are multiple different types of lithium-ion batteries. And you can see here is actually let me get out of the way actually. The variation in the lithium-ion battery is primarily driven on the cathode. So we actually have different cathode chemistries from NMC to LCO to NCA and to LFP. And actually, these cathode chemistries really change the metal content in the lithium-ion battery. And the metal content is the primary driver in the economic profitability of lithium-ion battery recyclers. So let's actually look at the next slide here. Is we can actually see the inferred price of, if we extract all the metals out of the lithium-ion battery. This is how much you can see on the x-axis is how much we'd get in terms of dollars. So we've got LCO, which is the highest, and that makes sense because cobalt is the most valuable component in the lithium-ion battery cathode. The second most highest is NMC 532. Again, that has a cobalt content. But interestingly, the lowest is LFP. So in terms of your recycling margins, or in terms of your profitability or your value of your black mass, it can really change depending on the cathode chemistry, which you can have different cathode chemistries across lithium-ion batteries. So, and you can actually see, LFP has the lowest value of $3,000 per ton. And now that's just some important background information. The really important thing to consider is actually Fast Markets are predicting that by 2034, 44% of the battery capacity in terms of gigawatt hours production is actually going to be from LFP, LMFP. So if I'm a battery recycler, at the moment I've got a large percentage of the market is driven by NMC and LCO, which means that I'm going to have lots of access to high value black mass. But actually, from 10 years from now, we're actually going to see an increase in LFP, LMFP. And this is because LFP is actually inherently cheaper, because even though it's worth less for recyclers, but that's also, which is a bad thing for recyclers, but that's actually a good thing for car manufacturers, because it means batteries are cheaper to make and we can have lower priced cars. And even though LFP has lower capacity, we're actually seeing better engineering, which means cars can have longer range with LFP cathode chemistries. Finally, this is just a little bit of background information, is that China is going to account for 36% of lithium-ion battery demand by 2034. So China will still continue to be the primary demand region of lithium-ion batteries. But actually Europe, with the rest of the world being 22%, Europe being 20%. The supply, in terms of the black mass supply, they're going to be coming from, they're primarily from two different sources. The first is from a gigafactory production, and the second is from end of life. And actually, currently, you can see that 69% of total battery scrap on the market is from production scrap. And that's because gigafactories, they have, in their first few years of operation, they're optimizing their process. And whilst they're optimizing their process, they produce a lot of battery scrap. And even when gigafactories are fully optimized, they still produce battery scrap. So a lot of the battery scrap is coming from, at the moment, is coming from gigafactories. But actually, this is set to decrease to 32% of the total market share by 2030. And the lithium-ion battery supply from end of life is actually set to increase to 68% of the market. And there are different recycling challenges, whether you're getting it from end of life or production scrap. The second, another point on this is that actually the historic production supply, this is actually good news for recyclers, is that historic production supply of black mass means that most of the black mass will still be, a large percentage of the black mass will still be NMC chemistry or NCM chemistry. But there's another problem for recyclers is that the black mass, there's still going to be a lot of LFP in the black mass, which is, again, as a lithium-ion battery recycler, that will really squeeze my margins in terms of the output of what I'm able to get in terms of my end product and how much money I'm able to generate from this black mass. Final thing is that China, again, is expected to produce 2 million tons of lithium-ion battery waste per year by 2034. This is enormous, and Europe is set to remain the second largest producer of lithium-ion battery waste. So these are just what as Fast Markets are predicting, and that China and Europe will be dominant in terms of lithium-ion battery waste production. The final one is short-term economic pressure from low metal prices and constricts black mass supply. So these are Fast Market prices, and if you're not sure what Fast Markets does, Fast Markets is a price reporting agency, and we provide independent prices on black mass in terms of payables. So if you're unsure how much you should be selling or buying your black mass for, we publish black mass spot prices, which you can use to negotiate with your customers. And again, the good thing about Fast Markets is that we're completely independent. We don't make money whether prices are low or high. We provide an independent source of price points. So this is there's actually a big discount in terms of the European market on black mass supply, or on black mass payables. You can see black mass payables are around 55%. So that's because there's a big overcapacity in terms of shredding in Europe. But actually, if you want to sell black mass, if you're a recycler looking to sell black mass, you're going to make the most money in South Korea and Southeast Asia, because there's a lot of refining capacity within South Korea and Southeast Asia, which is driving a demand for black mass. Finally, you can actually see that weak metal prices even though because payables are percentages, payables are mostly dependent on the supply and demand balance, and a little bit on the price, on the intrinsic price. But actually, if you look at the reduced metal prices, has actually really done some damage in terms of the inferred price of black mass per ton. So you can see that, again, we've seen LCO is the highest. LCO generally has the highest in terms of black mass value per ton, but we're also seeing some reduced black mass values per ton in terms of the NMC and NCA chemistry. Finally, you can actually see that, again, South Korea, you're getting the most value for your black mass. And in Europe, your black mass, in terms of the intrinsic value per ton, or what you're selling your black mass for, Europe is the market you're going to get the lowest price. So again, if you're a lithium-ion battery recycler, you're going to have a lot of problems, or you're not going to make a lot of money selling to Europe. And actually, you need to be selling to Southeast Asia and South Korea as well. This is a really interesting point, actually, is that metal prices have generally gotten weaker, and that's because of a general oversupply in the metal markets. That was actually partly to do with the fact that in 2022, lithium prices were very, very high, and that was really driving a lot of investment in lithium. So a lot of people said, oh, lithium prices are very high, we're going to begin to build lithium refining plants. And as these lithium refining plants have come online, and actually demand has decreased, well, not demand has decreased, but demand has grown for EVs, it's grown less than expected, we're actually seeing a bit of an oversupply in the lithium market. So we've had a historic depression of lithium prices. And actually, you can see the purple line at the top. The purple line at the top represents the intrinsic value of black mass in terms of NCM, and the line at the bottom represents the lithium price. And you can actually see the price of the NCM is going down further than the lithium price. So in terms of, in terms of your payables. So in terms of your in your profit margins, your margins are actually getting narrower, and this is a big problem for lithium-ion battery recyclers in terms of the decreasing margins between the black mass inferred price and also the black mass metal price. And yeah, that's my presentation for today. Thank you very much for listening. We do a lithium, nickel, cobalt, copper, manganese, graphite, and recycling 10-year forecast. So these are all separate forecasts which Fast Markets produce. I am one of the authors on the lithium-ion battery 10-year black mass forecast. So if you're interested in understanding about how we price and what our methodologies are, or if you're interested in also our services, you're welcome to approach me after the chat. Thank you very much for listening.